Welcome to the Post Shift Podcast, your raw look at the hospitality industry, brought to you by SHC. What is happening, Post Shifters? Welcome back to another episode of the Post Shift Podcast. Of course, your host, Shawn Soole. Now, I know you're probably going to be listening. If you're listening to watching this in the usual time, you're going to be like, oh, it's 9 o'clock on Friday, and it's kind of cool, and it's fantastic. But it is, in fact, 4 a.m. on Saturday morning when I'm having the opportunity to sit down with Alex Kratena again. We had some technical issues last time, so we set it up. This is for the 450 something episodes I've done. This is the earliest podcast live stream I've ever done in my whole entire life. So Alex can have that as a feather in his cap, however he wants to take that. So I'm really looking forward to Alex. I released a Julie Ryder episode recently, and it was the same trip that I met Alex on in 2010. We were both very young, and it was the most, I still say it was one of the most insane trips that I've ever had in my whole entire career, was this trip to France, to Cognac. And both Alex and I both bought our copies of Cosmopolitan by Toby Caccini to have him sign it, which was just a treat. And I think we both got the same reaction from Toby. If you ever met Toby Caccini, we both got the same reaction, going, what the fuck do you want me to sign this for? But I'm really glad that I've got a chance to have Alex on the show, because when we had the technical difficulties, man, I was like, oh, dude, I really worked hard on these questions, and I really want to give you these questions because they're so fantastic. Well, I think they're fantastic, and I think it's going to be a fantastic episode. How are you this morning for you too?
Good, really good. Nice to see you again. Yeah, all good. Getting ready for busy Saturday.
Nice. Yes, yeah. Luckily, as we were talking off in the green room, I've taken the weekend off because I have back-to-back car shows. So my little side hobby is actually like taking up some of my time this weekend, which is fantastic to have. So let's kick it off. Let's do your origin story. I know a few people tuned into the podcast before, or the live stream we did this week. Give me your origin story and how you got into the bar industry, and like what took you to the spot of being in London.
Okay, origin story in a fast way, because it's been a few years now. When I was growing up, I was very passionate about graffiti. I was very involved in the hip hop culture, and basically I was so passionate about it that I was always with a lot of trouble, in a lot of trouble, and eventually my parents kicked me out of the house. Ended up doing more graffiti. And had to find a job, so kind of slowly started to work in hospitality, which I think is a place where a lot of people end up. And long time nothing happened really, because I don't think bartending was my interest. It was a way of getting by. And many years later, kind of realizing that I work in all the different places, I was missing one thing on my resume, and it was a hotel bar. And this is the time when I came to London, and basically I opened Artisan at the Langham, and I think at that time London was totally on fire. You had Charles Waxenat running Lonsdale, you had Ago Perone running Montgomery Place. You could go out and have a drink and be served by Dick Brazzo. So it was a very particular era. I was lucky to be part of, and the rest of the story. Like, I think a lot of people associate me with the work we did with Simone at Artisan. I think very little people know that the bar opened in 2006, 2007 in the winter, and it wasn't until 2011 anyone kind of recognized it. So there was a lot of hard work, a lot of learning which went into it. And eventually, I think I realized that I wasn't really cut for the corporate game. I think there's two types of people. There's people who excel at it and do it for the entire life, and then they are vice president of something. I thought I was cut for it, and people for many years asked me, when you're gonna do your own place, blah blah. So I don't feel like. Then one day I was like, fuck. I think I feel like I don't think I'm ready, but I feel like it.
Yeah.
and with all the other things, which I think you had Simone on the podcast as well. Mm-hmm. So you know the history. Like, I think that coincides. All of the things which happened at the time led us to go independent. Started our elementary. Started our liqueurs, Muyu. Pandemic happened. everything almost went to fuck, almost lost everything, managed to survive somehow, and, and got out on the other side with a bottle cocktail brand. So, one thing I learned is not to make many plans, because every time I made one, it never worked the way how I see, how I imagine. So I just I go with the flow.
Yeah, I think 2011 when you guys won, it was I think it was the Connaught U, my hotel bar, Clive's in Victoria, because that was our first year, and I think Clyde Common in Portland. So it was like two small market bars against two hotel bars from London, and the stuff you guys were doing was always so inspirational. Like I remember you guys had the pina colada machine, but it wasn't just the pina colada slushy machine. It was like a whole like pandemonium when you ordered a pina colada at the Artesian. You got the big sunglasses, the parasol, the whole shebang, and it was that era of reinvention of what the hotel lobby bar should be. And lucky enough, you guys were at the forefront of that.
I think we were also lucky that the management had no idea half of the time. You know how it is in big corporate companies. You know, I seen more GMs in the decade than most bars. So as long as you're hitting the targets, your KPIs, and making a lot of money, people let you do it with closing eyes, because they don't want to deal with you.
So let's talk about Taya and Elementary, because it is a very unique bar. Because I remember when I talked to Monica about it, that it is two distinct spaces, and I think a lot of people see the backspace, but they don't really understand the front space as well as they probably should. So from the outside looking in, what is so special about Taylor Elementary?
I mean, I think the most special thing about our place, and the reason why it works the way it works, is because it's in very unique location and very unique neighborhood. We are in the middle of everything and also nothing. So, if you sat at the bar to the left, you have the design district. 5 minutes down, it's the financial services and, insurance. We have all of these startups who, raise crazy venture capital money around us. There's the Silicon Roundabout, the party madness of Shoreditch. And on the top of that, it happens to be, I think, still in the UK, the most densely populated neighborhood in London. So I think a lot of people raised eyebrows when we decided to open where we opened. But we are like, look, we don't have money to pay crazy premiums. So we need to go into the destination. But we done a lot of digging in the neighborhood, and we knew, that there was a lot of people, there was a lot of different professions, and the concept kind of was defined from that, because we knew that if we're gonna do only one of the concepts, we're gonna lose out on a huge chunk of audience. So Elementary is on the ground level. It has a huge glazed windows. It has very kind of daytime vibes. In fact, before the pandemic, we used to be open daytime, and it's literally our interpretation of modern neighborhood bar. Kind of very simple room, one big communal table. Everyone is kind of forced together, whether they make interaction or not. That's up to them. Everything is ready to drink, so everything is on draft. It's bottled in the bottles, or comes from the slushy machines. So very simple format, a bunch of different wines, focusing on kind of more young, niche, independent people from maybe regions people don't traditionally associate with wine. Bunch of beers and food. So that's Elementary. High quality drinks, but fast. People from the neighborhood who are going next door for dinner, they pop in for a round of drinks and maybe a nightcap. And it's just really nice, because I just came from the bar now, and already when I pop into the supermarket, I met 3 of our regulars, in a queue when you go to pay. So it's what I love about Elementary. It's not an industry place. It's a place for the neighborhood, and the kind of community makes it what it is. People obviously always look up to the stuff we do in Thayer. But I love Elementary because it's something I previously didn't have, for example, at the Langham, where you have a lot of international travel, you have a lot of tourists, you have all these international drinkers. It's cool, but But for me to see people every day and kind of have really tight relationships with them, I think that's really cool. Tire, on the other hand, modern, progressive, experimental cocktail bar, daily changing cocktail menu. So a huge amount of pressure on the on the team. Each drink celebrating different produce, different ingredient. So it's not a fancy cocktail list. It's very. I think when we are opening, we are very inspired by the sort of modern contemporary bistros, and we wanted to create a cocktail equivalent of that. We wanted a space where we like to go. I want to have a great food. If a friend of mine doesn't feel like cocktails, there's a small but curated wine list. Like where somebody put effort into. You want to be drinking beer and a shot. You have that. It's a simple menu which we print daily on a printer in the office. Done. Like a big counter reaction to everything I have done previously. We have done.
So how do you balance out the creativity with the business? Is one thing I always ask, like hyper creative people like yourself. How do you balance that creativity with the business side of things? Like, do you have someone in your team that's that person to sort of go whisper in your ear and go, Alex, we need to deal with this money issue or deal with this business issue, or do you sort of overall collaborate with Monica and sort of understand everything when it comes to the business of things?
So I think we blessed with Monica because both of us have corporate backgrounds, and we did run effectively other people's businesses with much higher turnovers. So we have very, I think, decent understanding of finance and the importance of running a business. Also, we are there to make a living, not to not to make an image for ourselves. In the terms of the creative process, is very structured. We have a team which works on R&D every Wednesday. So you have 3 to 5 people, and their only task is to make new drinks, new dishes, to push anything what needs to be done. And the whole concept is centered around the innovation, I would say, because it's very much this sort of current hype culture, what's new, what's next, and like we've seen it this week. Monica posts like, oh, we're gonna have this drink with Alfonso mangoes. They are whatever, and you have people coming in. It's like, oh, is the mango on today? It's like, maybe it's not gonna be tomorrow. So I think the reason why the business is so successful, because every time you come to us, there's something new and exciting, and that's why people come back more often than they would go to a bar which runs a menu for 6 months to a year. Like I seen it at Artesian. By the time the menu was launched, I was already bored of it. Whilst over here, it's like, guys, this is selling really well. Tomorrow we are in the shit.
Yeah.
So I like the pressure. I like the challenge, because I think, yeah, it needs to be fun for the guest, but like I'm spending so much time at work and I love the job I do, but it needs to be fun for us. It needs to be challenging for us, and it's a huge opportunity for us to learn. So even if I go back to this library of recipes we have, it's good to revisit recipes from 3 years ago and then see where did it evolve, because I think that's very important to me, that I'm not making the same drinks like I made 5 years ago. And it's only my personal exploration. It's like people probably won't realize, but for me, it's important.
Yeah, and that sort of brings me to the next question, is like, when it comes to, like, you and Monica have done some incredible marketing initiatives. I won't call stunts, but like some of the marketing stuff you've done and videos work you've done has been absolutely incredible. Does that just come to you naturally, or is that something that you sort of have to like brainstorm, or is just you wake up one morning and go, hey, I think we should make a satirical video about guests at the bar, and just go in and do it?
It's very organic, to be honest with you. And like a few people, a few industry friends, is like, who's the agency who's making this? Who's your marketing department? It's like, we don't have an agency. There's no marketing department. It's like, we do everything very organically, and you see like there's no regular schedule to those videos, because when we feel like making one, we make it. Or if there's an occasion, or if we are releasing a collaboration or merchandise, we make it. And when we have nothing to say, we also just shut up and continue working. But like the videos are super simple. Basically, there's a 3 rules. The budget for the costumes is £50, or 60 euros. So you need to work with what you have essentially in your wardrobe. We need to drink at least a bottle of wine when writing the script, and you need to be able to execute it in a couple of hours, because we always shoot it before the service.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Like I think what is very important to us, that the brand is very genuine, and that people know that it's us and it's our style of humor, and a lot of the things actually did happen at the bar. So like if you go through the comment section, there's like a lot of regulars like tagging a friend. It's like, hey Tony, I think this is you. So, and then everybody has a laugh about it.
Because you did one with a whole bunch of piglets at one stage too, didn't you? Where did you get all the
Yeah.
piglets at? Like when we talk about organic creativity, it's like, hey, we need a dozen piglets today for this shoot.
So this was a collaboration. Like we are pet friendly as a bar, which is quite unusual for a cocktail bar in London. So there's this huge community of people who come to us. I don't think not because of the drinks or the music or anything else, but just because they can bring their dog in, and we have these little sausages for the dogs. So it's always fun, and we're always doing merch for humans, but we should do something for the pets. So we released this whole collaboration with Whistlepig, centered around pet merchandise, essentially. And we found the company online, which basically does which does animals for movies. So these piglets, they act in the advert on a TV and stuff like this. Some of them are, the girls are quite well behaved. The boys were horrible. But I think it was one of the hardest shoots. Like one of them tripped the camera of our friend. So, I literally catch it just above the floor. And what was hilarious about it, and what no one sees in the video, there was such a massive crowd in front of the bar watching it. So we had a crowd of like 80 people watching us shooting this. So it was hilarious. And we had all these piglets running around doing madness.
That's awesome. So you've just opened a bar in Barcelona, Chiara. How was that experience, and how'd that sort of come about? Like, were you always planning on expanding? Because obviously you have a lot of creative projects and entrepreneurial projects all around the world with your liqueurs and that sort of thing. How did the Chiara come around in Barcelona?
I mean, Chiara again happened very organically. We did have expansion plans before the pandemic, and all of this crisis we now experiencing all around the world happened. And it's just in UK, it's a situation where I don't think I want to be opening another venue right now. And some 3 years ago, we had a very nice conversation with a friend of ours who has this global role in a company which creates concepts and does a lot of things. And we're like, yeah, cool, blah blah. And very organically one day he was like, hey, we have this property in Barcelona. Do you wanna do the bar there? And we are like, well, let's go and see it. And I love Barcelona. I was there many years ago at like a student exchange program. I have a huge relationship with the city. Obviously, Simone lives in Barcelona. So I was like, you know what? I love the city. It's a huge skateboard culture city as well, which obviously is very attractive to me. And then we just say, yeah, let's go and let's do it. So yeah, it just happened, and I think what we enjoyed very much is that I like briefs when I get a lot of freedom. Like if I'm meant to be putting my name on it, like people need to know that it's us.
How do you structure your days? Do you class yourself as an entrepreneur? Because you do have a lot of like projects and brands and things that you work with. You collaborate with a whole bunch of things as well. Do you class yourself as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Yeah. I just happened.
How do you structure your day? Because we are talking about organic creativity and stuff. How do you structure your day to sort of balance out like venue in Barcelona, the Miu liqueurs, um, collaborative projects on the side, plus Tearing Elementary? How do you structure your day usually? Just for an insight for outside looking in people who are wondering how you do all the things you can do.
I mean, I think it comes to organization. like organization, methodology, order, and prioritizing. The days vary extremely. Like the opening was super hard. I would wake up at 5:36 in the morning. I would catch up with my work in London. Then I would go to skateboard. Then I would take a quick shower, grab a breakfast, and work all the way until late. Until midnight. So that's really hard. When I'm in London, it depends again on the day. Like nobody touches my Wednesdays. This is the time when I just have my creativity sessions and I just make drinks. Maybe I grab a meeting. But overall, it depends. Like my typical Thursday, I could wake up, I go to skateboard, I can take a board meeting, I do a staff training, then I take a bunch of meetings, then I jump into the service. So is it balanced? No. Do I enjoy it? Yes.
Well,
But
work-life balance is a personal thing for a lot of people. I like being busy. I like being as stacked as I usually am. So that's my balance is like this week. As I said, this weekend, taking the weekend off, doing car shows. That's my 2 days off, and then I'll grind back into it next week.
yeah. No, I think the advantage I have, obviously, when you run your own business, it's like you choose when you can do the things, and you also need to learn to be able to put those hard stops in there, where like you carve out time for yourself, and it's like this is my time, and nobody's touching it. Like try to catch me on Saturday or Sunday. Normally, when I'm not after surgery, I would never give up my skateboarding to anyone.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. When it comes to scaling your creativity and ideas, because obviously you and Monica travel. I think Monica in Mexico right now for Barra?
Yeah. She's on the way to the airport.
Yeah. So with you scaling these ideas, it's sometimes again really hard for a lot of creative people to pass on their creativity to the team and sort of build the culture. How do you and build that sort of culture so that your whole team is on the same page and like really getting behind the idea and concept?
I mean, I think we attract very particular type of people, and people who are attracted to the way of thinking and the way how we do things. And I think we attract people who are quite ambitious. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think like you need to put a lot of energy into creating the right culture, and sometimes people struggle with it, and then they eventually like, okay, So I think people see always Monica and myself, and they tend to put us on the pedestal, but they don't see the fact that there's Dasha and David, running the whole bottle cocktail things. Like
Mhm.
we opened Chiara, and at the same time we relocated our production. I was on 2 calls. Dash and David did everything, relocated the whole thing, which is, and it went super smooth. I was shocked because I don't think I would handle it. So, yeah, I think always creating the culture, leading by example, making time for people, but at the same time, you need to let go.
And talking about letting go, like you said in the pandemic that the bottled cocktails, the RTDs, are sort of like obviously a pandemic. Like we're going to just try and get through this. Did you expect them to like build and grow as quickly as they have?
No, to be honest with you, we had no idea what we were doing. The first round of them, the first production we did, we were like, we're running out of money. Let's try to get rid of some stock. We had so little money in the account that we realized that if we don't act and if we are not active, we're gonna be out of the business very quickly. And it's this one of these old school hospitality things your old boss used to teach you. In hospitality, the worst thing is inaction. No matter what happens, you need to take some action. Maybe you don't know if it's the right one, but you need to take action. And we did. Obviously, we had a huge competitive advantage because we already had all the licensing because of the other activities we're doing. We had a contacts in distribution because of our liqueurs. We had a network of people we knew. So we had a packaging because we were buying spirits in bulk. So we had our own bespoke packaging. The packaging of RTDs was originally the packaging for all the different spirits we buy in for the
Mm.
bar. But when it was time to go, it's like boom. You just need to go. So very organic and also making a lot of mistakes. The first e-commerce platform was built by Monica for 1 week she was watching YouTube videos about how to build e-commerce, and then made it at home.
Wow. So when it comes to the liqueurs as well, Mew is had those sort of where'd they come from? What was the root for those?
I mean, the root or the seed of that idea came after we left Artesian. We were already working together with Simone and Monica, and we went on this expedition into Amazon with a chef friend of ours and a bunch of other journalists and bartenders, just exploring the potential of the produce in cocktails. And I think for us, it was also an exercise to make sure that our bars end up being something very different. So we expose ourselves to new things. And I think in the rainforest, when you realize the incredible biodiversity, we were like, oh my God, bartenders, like we are self-limiting ourselves so much. There's so much amazing produce. You know, there's 300 different types of citrus, and we rely on 5 in a cocktail bar. You know, so that was the original idea. It would be so cool to create a brand which can showcase some of the more unusual ingredients. Obviously, none of the ingredients come from Amazon, but there's so many amazing things all around the world. And yeah, then we put together a business case and a business plan, and just started to chat with few people because we had no money to fund it, but we had the idea. You know, I think that's the 3 of us. We always have ideas, and you just need to you need to figure it out. But it was very organic process. And it was just us being us. We are like, look, worst comes worst. If it doesn't work, we're gonna have these liqueurs we want anyway. You know, so it's kind of very it's very selfish, you know, and even the recipes, they are like, this is what we expect from a modern liqueur. This is how Simone sees a Kinotto liqueur. This is how Monica thinks about what jasmine floral liqueur should be, and you know, for me, it's like, why nobody makes woody liqueurs? There's so many ingredients.
If it didn't work out, you'd just have pallets and pallets of liqueur sitting in the back of Taylor Elementary to use over the next 3 years.
Oh, exactly.
So with your collaboration with Monica and Simone is kind of internationally legendary now. How do you work at such a high level with such? Is it easy to collaborate and like work with such high functioning collaborators like that? Is it really easy and fluid when you guys get together and start pitching ideas? Or do you have that sort of like complementary and contrasting sort of ways of thinking?
Oh, no, definitely. I think if you take the 3 of us as an example, Simone and Monica and myself, if there's a project, and you know, like when we had a bar in Seoul for a couple of years, there was another partnership with a hotel after we quit Artesian, and like in that project, we don't need to speak, and we know who's gonna do what.
Mm.
You know, and I think this is the beautiful thing about our relationships, because a lot of the business relationships we have, you know, there's deeper human connections and relationships before the business. So we know each other so well that, like, you know, if it's gonna be something legal, I'm gonna be dealing with it with the lawyers. You know, if it's gonna be calculations and stuff, Monica will do it. If it's this, then Simone naturally just flows in it, and we don't need to know, because we know it's gonna be taken care of.
Wow, that's a fucking fantastic way of looking things. What's your sort of advice for bartenders wanting to like open a bar? And don't say don't, because that's always a usual response when I talk to people. But I think the romance of opening a bar is always going to be the romance of opening a bar. I don't think any article or the million amount of videos that are out there going, these are all the mistakes I made opening a bar or opening a restaurant, is ever going to deter anyone from opening bars, because it's so fucking romantic. What's your piece of advice for those bartenders who are looking at making that next step to opening a bar?
I think don't wait for the moment when you're gonna feel you are ready, because the reality is you will never be ready. You know, so be ready to make mistakes, and just go for it. The best piece of advice I ever got, I don't know who told me that. Maybe I think it was Ali Reynolds from Happiness Forgets, or I don't know. But somebody told me, it's like, look, make sure when you open, you fucking charge everyone. There's no free drinks. All of your friends, they will come and they will want to support you, and you need to take those money. Otherwise, you're gonna be fucked. And I think that's possibly one of the best pieces of advice. You are tempted, okay, let's look after these people. It's like, no, you need to be bringing money in. Yeah.
Was there a learning curve when you opened up Taylor Ranchering? Because obviously, coming from the corporate hotel world, there is certain buffers that are there. Was that a big learning curve for you when you opened up TNE?
I mean, oh my God, it's been a learning curve every single day, every single minute. It still is, you know. And I open project like this, and then I tell to myself for a year, I will never do another project ever again. This was the worst thing.
I'm done. I'm finished. I'm retiring.
And then I'm at it again, you know. So yeah, just go for it. I think learning the fact that you will make mistakes and being fine with making mistakes is also some of the fastest way to progress. Don't wait for it to be ready. You will never be ready.
Does it get easier when you start opening another? Is this sort of framework and stuff working, or is there always curveballs when you open up new venues?
I think every venue is so different. Like, I knew opening in Spain is gonna be very challenging, and I think it was like a 50 times harder than I imagined. And I had a big buffer of how difficult things can get, you know. So it's also, I think, you know, opening in other countries, there's obviously huge cultural differences and stuff like this. So you need to learn how to work within the local context. You know, you cannot just take it how you do it in London.
Yeah, there was a big learning curve for me when I opened up the places in Singapore. When I was consulting in Singapore, was like getting to know that you have to like actually get to know your contractor, because culturally speaking, they want to get to know who you are before they work with you, instead of it just like they show up and you go, when you get this done, and they're like, hi, I'm such and such, and how's your family, and do you have family? And you're like, and you have to get to actually know them before you can even ask them to do a single thing. We're in the middle of the year now, almost exactly. Well, we're a little bit further over the middle of the year. What's the next 6 months laid out for you?
Oh my God, next 6 months, I have no idea. I'm going to Spain tomorrow. Then I'm back on Wednesday. I have new stuff starting. On Saturday, go to Tails. Then I come back. I go for holidays in August. We have like-minded creatures in Hong Kong, and then we're going to China. And I think just a lot of like next 6 months, it's a lot of work. But I plan certain things, but I also I don't have this like a big structure, big goals, you know. But at the same time, a lot of things is happening, you know. I'm raising money for one of the projects we are doing, so that's taking huge amount of time, and obviously now it's very difficult time to raise money in this industry. You know, I need to keep on running the bar. You know, I think, look, opening projects is easy. Making sure they continue and they are consistent, that's the hardest bit. So I think a lot of the stuff is perhaps not as glamorous, but I have some cool trips booked, so I'm very stoked for that.
Do you think that's a one big thing that as an entrepreneur, do you want to pass on to the younger generation and start getting into the bar ownership and stuff? Is that it really isn't as glamorous as I know this from personal experience. It's not as glamorous as what everybody thinks it is when it comes to outside looking in. As you were saying, like traveling to here, traveling to there, like Monica's flying to Barra, Mexico right now. That then you could still walk into the bar this afternoon and it's flooded, or toilets plugged, or hot water's been turned off by the landlord because he's doing some work upstairs. Is that sort of a big piece of advice you want to pass on to the younger generation?
Yes and no. I mean, I think overall we live in the world where, thanks to social media and the online and digital, a lot of things are not what they really are. You know, the perception is skewed. I mean, look at people around us. No, some of the people who seem to have the most amazing lifestyles and doing the most glamorous things, they're actually some of the saddest people you ever meet. You know, I think still overall, and you know, I speak with friends who are in fashion, in modeling, in many other different careers. our industry is amazing. Yes, it is a lot of hard work. It's a lifestyle to a huge extent, but yeah, I think overall for everyone in these days, we need to realize that reality is often very different than what we see online.
100%. So we're at the stage of the podcast where I do the 5 deep podcast questions. These are super podcast questions that everybody gets at the end of the episode. What is one lesson or experience that has shaped your perspective the most, and how do you carry that forward in your life?
I think one of the things which shaped me the most was a talk by Roger Antonsen, is a university professor, mathematician, and he did an amazing talk on at Poor Symposium, which is something we used to organize with Monica Simone, a bunch of other friends, and he talked about perspective, and he explained it in a very beautiful, poetic way, grounded in mathematics with amazing visuals he programmed himself. And like being able to change perspective and seeing things from other perspective, being able to step out and seeing it from slightly different angle, that helped me so much in the career, in personal relationships, being more empathic, and sometimes realizing that the way how you see world is only the way how you see the world, and then everybody else see it in their particular way. Wow. That talk meant so much to me because it literally changed the way how I look at the world.
That's cool. If you could leave one lasting message or piece of wisdom for the world, what would it be and why?
Oh my God, this is really deep. I mean, I think it would be beautiful for everybody to realize that we sadly kind of are not able to see kind of 1 or 2, 3 generations ahead of us and behind us. And it would be really wonderful if more people got that and start to fucking learn from the past. Because all the shit show which is happening in the world right now, it's like you just see the patterns. It would be nice for new young generations to come and start to break those patterns, because they maybe have the ability to see beyond that with all the information and technology we have.
Looking back on your journey, what is something you wish you had understood earlier in life?
I think it's the importance of having hobbies outside of work, and not being only with one group of people. Having meeting people across different subcultures or cultures or interest groups.
Nice. How do you define success, and has your definition of it changed over time?
Okay, my definition of success is very grounded in happiness, and this is how I look daily at whether I'm successful or not. Is I ask myself, are you actually happy with what you're doing? And I think that also gave me the success. I was never looking for gains, money. I was looking for what do we do? I always ask myself, is this fucking cool? Is this exciting? Do I think I like it? And then I'm ready to put it out there. And what was the second part of the question?
How do you define it? Has your definition of it changed over time?
Change over the time. Let go and accept.
Nice.
Let go and accept those changes. Often the big changes, there's nothing you can do about them. So you just need to accept the fate.
What do you hope your legacy will be, and what steps are you taking to build it?
I hope my legacy will be to inspire young people that bartending is super fucking cool profession, and I want to inspire young people to know that no matter where they come from, what is the backgrounds, sometimes it's only about building the dream and then following through. Obviously, some of us are more privileged than others, but like I want to inspire people to go out there and do the things that excite them.
Wow. And finally, just it's not a deep podcast question. Your favorite classic cocktail?
The one in my glass. The one in my glass. No, I look. I'm a very simple person, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm gonna have a Negroni in this hand and a beer in the other one.
Fantastic, man. Thank you so much for your time. I know that again you've got service tonight, so it's incredible that I got a chance to sit down with you, and I can't actually believe that I haven't had you on the show yet. Like it's kind of mental that it never lined up for some reason, but that was fantastic, and I really appreciate your time, man.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the car show today.
Yeah,
Great to
I
see you.
will definitely. Nice to see you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, ciao.
Bye. Thanks for listening, Pose Shifters. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoy sitting down with friends and peers and just chatting about the industry and getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's really going on out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything on all the platforms. Just hit it up and I'll do my best to answer any queries or questions you have. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.